Welcome back, everybody. This is my review of Robert Eggers' Nosferatu. First and foremost, I'm just going to get it out of the way. I'm going to rave about this movie. That being said, I was not a diehard fan of the original one. I've actually never seen any of the Nosferatu movies that came out in the past. So I went into this knowing about the character, was not really biased towards the film or the movie in any way. That being said, I'm going to jump right into it. This movie is starring Lily Rose Depp, Bill Skarsgård, Willem Dafoe, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, and Nicholas Hoult, all of whom had very good performances. I was extremely impressed by them. The movie is set in 1830s Germany, and it's very much taking place in plague times, in times where, the Black Death and plague were running rampant in areas not far from Transylvania. That's where the movie is set. This movie was beautifully shot. Robert Eggers is very much known for that. He's very quickly making a strong name for himself with his movies. Prior 3 films, he's done The Witch, The Northman, and The Lighthouse, all of which are these unique kind of period piece movies. He seems to very much like movies that are kind of set in the past, and he's an extremely meticulous, immersive filmmaker. He does a lot of study and work into what he does, and with research, you can tell the way that costumes are designed, the way that actors speak, and that really kind of comes through in the way that he writes, the directing. So I really like that the way this movie was teased and advertised, the trailer, it's kind of showing this terror, it's building this tension. You see characters like Willem Dafoe, and you obviously know they're talking about Nosferatu, but you don't ever really see him. And I love the way that they kept that kind of a secret. Bill Skarsgård, his performance as this character was absolutely incredible. The things that he does, the prosthetics that he wears, he is completely unrecognizable. His voice, I actually watched a lot of interviews and press of him with the cast talking about what he did, the transformation he made. He lost a lot of weight. He learned all of these different techniques with like his larynx and where his voice was coming from. If you see the movie, you will very quickly realize that is his performance and the way that he sounds is honestly on another level. Voice and just the presence of that really makes a huge effect of this character and his performance as Nosferatu. The way that this movie kind of captured the raw essence of just terror at its base level was very interesting to me. Being someone who's always been a die-hard lover of horror, and honestly, not a huge classic movie person, not seen a lot of even black and white movies, I very much have a deep appreciation for a movie that can do horror the right way. That's not that common these days. And seeing an R-rated horror flick that is what I would say classic horror meet with modern technology, but is very much an homage to that style of filmmaking. Robert Eggers and all of the actors did an absolutely phenomenal job. The entire time during this movie, I was not bored for the slightest bit. I didn't want it to end. I was hanging on every single scene. I thought this movie really captured the terror of this character. And with Nicholas Hoult's performance, the scene where he first meets Count Orlok, Nosferatu, in his castle in Transylvania, that was amazingly shot. Every second of it, you're just kind of feeling the tension in this room, and I couldn't get enough of that. Going back to the cinematography, the way that Robert Eggers kind of captures just the beauty in any shot, even when it's something that's supposed to creep you out, I thought was just a marvel in this film. It was absolutely a feast for the eyes. There's one scene in particular that I love that I just thought was super immersive, and you just feel like you're there. And it was the scene when Nicholas Hoult, his horse gets stolen. He's on foot now, traveling to Count Orlok's castle before he knows what's going on. And there's a scene where he's just going through this thick forest. There's a road through the middle. There's this soft, quiet snowfall, and you just feel it. And then this horse-drawn carriage with no one in it comes up to him, the horses stop, and then the door just opens. And he's kind of in a trance, and he gets in, and it brings him to the castle. And I just thought that was an incredibly well-shot scene. There's so many things you can say about this movie, and just there's almost a simplicity to it that I observed. And I think it's very much a less is more approach that they're doing. And you can kind of see that you don't need to do anything super crazy, super fancy and complicated. You don't need to do ridiculous CGI and just rely on only the cheap jump scares and slashers. And, you don't have to do that to bottle the essence of terror. And this movie is just a masterclass in that. I thought that the scenes where Mount Orlok Nosferatu is there, you just can't take your eyes off him. You're hanging on every word that he's saying. Nicholas Hoult, his character goes through a lot. I'll just leave it at that. And you kind of feel the weight of this movie. Feel the weight of what is going on in this world, what's going on in the city, how the plague is affecting everything, how they're all trying to basically save their lives and develop a plan. How are we going to kill this undead vampire? Lily Rose Depp. I don't think I've really seen her in anything else, but she's incredible. Her performance in this it asked a lot of her. It was very dynamic. It was a very intense role. There's a lot of things that she has to do and just give a ton of rawness, vulnerability, emotion, and physicality to. And her and Nicholas Hoult do a really good job of capturing their characters' connection, the relationship, the fear, but then everything else that's going on with how Nosferatu is essentially trying to get this woman, his wife, to be with him. The supporting actors were all great. And it just shows the level of the citywide tragedy that this character is causing, and not just how he's going and killing people and drinking their blood and stuff, but he's particularly going after this group of people in person, while his plague that he's brought with him and he's creating is essentially slowly destroying and killing everyone in this town. In the conclusion of this movie, I was particularly impressed with the way that it ended. The buildup of the movie, the whole time, it feels very well paced, and it's just slowly building. Very end of this movie, I thought it was a specifically beautiful way to end it. And it kind of makes you question what's really going on, because you don't actually know sometimes the way certain characters feel. And you don't actually know if Lily Rose Depp's character despises this character, or if there's actually some type of genuine connection there. I don't know if she's doing it purely as an act of protection, which it is, but also if there is some type of connection there that's just because of the relationship she's had with this character most of her whole life, and it's just something she can't fully understand. So it is interesting, but I want to say that this movie, at its essence, I think it's very much a movie that is about love and terror, and how these things can sometimes be intertwined. And that's at least my take on it. But I really like the way this movie ended. That was extremely well shot. There was a very palpable weight and presence to what what happens, and what you see happens on the morning of that final scene. And then the movie just kind of ends in the perfect spot, and it's satisfying. Nosferatu was easily one of my top 5 movies of 2024. If you are in the slightest bit interested in this movie, go see it. It's great to see in theaters. See it with all the sound right in your face. It's amazing. That's going to do it for today. Stay tuned for more. Thanks.